Hello and welcome to another episode of Modern Infrastructure Wednesday. I'm your host, Lee Zen. I'm doing some live coding. I actually realized I should probably start recording as I was going into the middle of this. And so what I'm doing today is trying to build out a quick little project to shove metrics into CloudWatch based on build status. So I started playing with the GitHub API. And so, looking at kind of Pulumi as an example of doing this. The Pulumi repository, and I was kind of looking at the workflow runs API, and then also playing with some curl and JQ, and then really just trying to figure out how I want to do this. So I think right now, so far this all makes sense. Like I want to use Octokit and list the runs for a repo based on the ones that are completed, and then basically looking through those workflows to kind of make sure that we publish metrics for each workflow based on the most recent status of one. So I think the tricky part right now is really the fact that the API is kind of a little awkward, I think. Like you can list the workflow runs for a repository, which is what I'm doing here. And you can also list the workflows for a repository. So if we look at the GitHub API, you can also list the workflows. But it's not clear that there's a way to list the runs for a workflow. Like I didn't see that. This is kind of even more granular. This is the jobs for a workflow run, which was not what we want. We want to see, given a workflow ID, give me the runs for that workflow. I guess that's what this is. Okay, so maybe I can go the other way. Returns workflow run triggered by the event you specify. But then, okay, I see. So maybe we can go that way. So let's go. I missed this. So let's go back and take a look at this. Because we really want to be able to track this on a per workflow basis. So let's do that. So let's do this. So first we're going to get all the workflows for the repository. Then we're going to list runs for that workflow, taking the latest completed one, and then publish that as the status. That's our pseudocode. So let's do this. And we only care about these types of workflows. So first let's get all the workflows for repository. And that's pretty easy, I think. So that's actions list workflows. Okay, here we go, list repo workflows. And this takes owner, which is our org, takes a repo, which is our repo. Whoops, we have that already. I think it doesn't take anything else. Yeah, we don't need any of this. And for now, we can just assume that so we're just going to assume that we only have one page. It's a pretty reasonable assumption. I think GitHub typically pages by like 100 or something. Doesn't say here, but I think typically the page size is 100, and even here we definitely have fewer than 100. I guess we can test that real quick to see if we get all of these workflows. We can call this. Let's put this into workflows. Oh, is it not defined at the top? What is it called then? Well, total count is 15, so okay, I don't even need that, but that's weird that didn't work. I might have messed something up. That's okay. Either way, I guess we know that this is 15, so we definitely get everything back. All right, so let's do that for now. And then we can go through each of these workflows. Oh. Is this not okay? This is now... Ah. There we go. Let's clean this up a little bit. Call this workflows response. We can also error out. All right, so great. So for each workflow, and I can move this in here now, we can only look at those, and we want to list the workflow's runs for that workflow with those events. So let's do that. So list workflow runs, and this takes, again, the owner, the repo, and now workflow ID. And that should be our workflow ID. And ideally, we want to only have it on certain events. So you can see we have these two events, though I can't filter by multiple event types, it seems. So I guess we can just, we'll have to do this. Okay. Okay. This is okay. This is reasonable now, I guess. Let's call this GitHub event to be a little clearer. Delete all this. And we want this to be the ones that are completed, so this should be a status completed. Okay, so that seems pretty reasonable. Okay, so I think this should probably give it to us in order. I guess let's see. We can test that. I guess we can probably see what it says. We can look at the examples. So 4837. Okay, this is not actually a helpful example since those are the same time. Let's look at our own repository here. Oh wait, this is the wrong one. That's why. That's not helpful. Let's look at here. Workflow runs. Okay, so that only has one. Okay, well, let's just call it ourselves then. So and what do we want to give it? We want to give it workflows, workflow ID, and then runs. So let's pick this. Okay, so let's see. This is in hopefully reverse order. Status completed. That's right. So this is 227, and if we come up a bit, then we're at, okay, it's still 227. Come up a little farther. Okay, yeah, so it is reverse chronological order, which is great. So we can take the head of that list and get what we want. So okay. And here, now we actually finally have the information. We can finally decide if we want to publish a metric or not. Or we always want to publish a metric, rather. So here I'm going to actually import because eventually we're going to use this in a Lambda function. But for now, we're actually going to use this a different way. So we're going to have SDK. Actually, we'll clear this client outside of here since we're going to use it multiple times. And actually, no. This is let's not do that. That'll be this is our compute, so we're not going to do any CloudWatch stuff here. So here, I guess here's when we'll use the call, like we'll have a callback here. Or we could build a map maybe. That's actually maybe easier. Let's just do that. So we'll build a map from these different workflows to the metric. So let's do that. So let's create our map up here. We'll call this results, and it will be a map from I guess it's really from the number, which is the workflow ID. But I think maybe we'll want it to be named. So let's call it let's give it a string, and we're going to map that to a number, which is the number of build failure minutes or seconds. And so here, let's calculate this number. So latest run should be the run's response. Workflow runs 0. And we know we have that here since the total count is more than 0. And we can basically look at the time between now and the latest run, or if it was successful, we'll say 0. So so we care about this conclusion. So if the conclusion is, so here, let's call this failure minutes, failure seconds. And oh, this is not typed. Interesting. Okay. Well, we know the conclusion should be, success, I believe. Let me see. Yeah. So if the conclusion should be success, if it succeeded. So if it's success, then then it's 0 seconds. Otherwise, we know that it should be the time between when this run ran, and that should be, we'll call this, I guess, updated at. Is there a completed at? No. Okay, so update. We'll use the last when it finished. And this is a string. Okay, so this is like in this time format. And so we can convert this to a time. Just make sure that actually works. I believe it should out of the box. Oops, I did not mean to make a node. Yeah, great. Yep, okay, great. And I think it's called, I think I want get time, if I recall correctly. Yes, okay, so yeah, so this is in milliseconds. And I want to subtract now from that, right? So how come I thought there was a date? Now? Am I like imagining things? Oh, there it is. Okay. Great. Let's see. Yeah. So, and that gives us a reasonable number, right? This is, it's hours times days. Oh, this is in milliseconds, huh? So this is like 239 days. Okay, great. So we want this. So this is failure of milliseconds. Let's make it seconds. I think that actually makes more sense. So we can just take this whole thing divided by 1,000. Okay. And yeah, so if it's success, 0, otherwise this. Okay, and now we can finally stick this into our map. So we can do results set, and we can do the, here we'll want to use the workflow name, and we can set the value to the failure seconds. And when we're all done with all this, we can return results. Great. And so we can set the type of this to be a map of string number. And this is async, so yes, promise string number. All right, great. And actually here I realized we don't paginate either, but that's actually like on purpose since we only just need the first one. So we can, let's test running this real quick. And we can, I'm just gonna make a quick like, let's run this file actually. So we can just do, we can use my GitHub token, use environment variable, we'll use Pulumi, and then we can wait this. Oh, I'm at the top level. Okay, let's just do this. Map dot for each. All right, let's just try this and see if this works. Have this GitHub personal. So I happen to have this in my shell. Oh, and I can run TS node from oh, Okay, map has, where did I mess up? Ah, here. Did not like this. 49. Yeah, okay, so fine. Oh, and it's not assignable. Okay, line 49. Well, that seems odd. Undefined is not assignable to type string. This is happening at this line. 49. Why does it think that? Oh, because this is, no. Yeah, then, yes. Ah, okay, I flipped it should be value string. No? Takes a callback of yes to void. It seems correct. I guess let me just try this. Maybe see if I'm just going crazy somehow. Okay. No, still it's not. Something happening here where I don't see what I'm doing wrong though. Is this a different type? No, this is map string of number. Is it when I stick this in here? Workflow name. This is defined. Set string number. Yes. Results. Ah, but because this throws, is that what's throwing this off? I'm trying to see where I've gone wrong here. Is it not like this? Because that could be undefined potentially. I guess that might be it. Yeah, that seemed to be it. Okay. Everything else was actually kosher before that. All right, let's see if this works. All right, great. Cool. So we can actually see the various names of the workflows and then kind of how long ago this thing was failing for. And there's actually, some of these aren't builds we care about anymore, but that's maybe that's okay. I can recognize some of these are old names that we don't really use. Like I don't recognize this workflow, for example, for a while. So we can probably filter those out or okay, great. So that's working. So far I haven't shown any of the stuff related to actually getting this into AWS yet. So maybe let's do that in a sec. But let me just delete this. Now we know that this is working the way I wanted to. So basically we have each workflow name followed by the actual metric. So that's good. And we probably want to do a little bit more. So we'll do call this compute org build failure time. actually, let's just skip that for now. We can manually define a set of repos and orgs. We're going to try this against for now, and then kind of just make sure it all works, and then we can iterate from there. So, okay, let's go back to this. Now let's actually get that function shoved into AWS as a thing we just call all the time. So let's import, so let's actually export this function. And now we're going to create a schedule of functions. So CloudWatch on schedule, and they'll call this build metrics event. I'll call it build metrics schedule rather. Just be slightly more descriptive. We'll call it Pulumi build metric schedule. And this takes, what does this take? This takes some kind of schedule. So I think that's the actual schedule value. So we'll call this rate, and we'll do this every hour. Seems reasonable enough. And then it takes a handler, in which case we can create the handler. And so this will be our event handler. And this is typically going to look something like this. And so you can see this is event rule event. And we actually really don't care about what's in the event, but all we really need to do is just call our thing with our token, org. And for now, I'll just put Pulumi, and for now I'll do this, and later we can add more to this. And so we can actually make this an async function. So we can await this. So that in Lambda, this actually runs completely. And then now the only question is like, well, how do we get this token thing? But actually, we can just do this and use the process here. And so this is where I can assume we have this. And then now we can actually give it those arguments. And so, oops. So I thought I could. Yeah, and so now I can give it these args. It's odd that it's not completing. These are the event subscription args. Ah, and those are empty. Yes, okay. And finally, these are the options. Okay, so actually, I need to change the way my callback works a little bit. So I need to actually create a callback function so that I can pass it environment variables. So we'll call this callback function. Let's call callback. And this takes an event, and so we actually know what the event type was here. This is, you can see this expects a it expects this kind of handler, event rule void. So we'll just copy that. And this takes a name, so we'll call this build metrics callback, and it takes some args. And here we can actually, now we can do what I wanted. So we can do the callback as that async function I wrote earlier. And here it will just be, actually this takes this event. This should be AWS CloudWatch event. But we actually end up ignoring that, and then we end up calling the function. So await compute, and now we can do process and token, and we'll just hard code this for now. All right, and then now we can give it the environment, and here we can actually pass in a config. So we can do here we can use Pulumi config, so we can here we'll have this GitHub token. Actually, I think this is variables. Yep. And this can be from the config. So config require secret, and we can ask for GitHub token. All right, and this is an an input, so we can use this, which is an output into that input. So here we just have to do this. All right, so this will actually create a callback that gets called every hour for us. And then that'll actually compute everything that we want. So let's actually try running that. Let's actually change this to 1 minute for now, so we can actually run it more often. And let's see. Ah, right. But I forgot that what I didn't do is, so this creates that map, but we don't actually post to CloudWatch. So we actually need to do that. So let's do this. And now we can iterate through this map and post to CloudWatch. So here we can do the value, and this is the name, and we can do we have this new CloudWatch client, and then we can do CloudWatch put metric data, and here this says it expects a callback. I believe there's let's do this. Yeah, so we can give it like metric data and then prompt. Okay, so. And we can probably just and then we can define the metric data. So data, it's called metric params, and this should look like this. Actually, I wonder if like this has the type we care about. Yeah. Okay. So here, so we can do this. We can make sure this is nicely typed. AWS SDK, CloudWatch. No? What am I doing wrong here? Okay, there's no types being exported like that. Can I do that? No. All right, let's just do this for now. I'll come back to that. All right, here we go. So now it's going to give me the type errors. All right, that's pretty good too. Yeah, so it's not the right type, so we need to actually give it the metric data. And here, we can say metric name, and the metric name should be, let's call it, I don't know, failure, failing. And then give it some dimensions. And by the way, I'm just reading off screen some documentation for how to do this. And dimension needs a name, so in this case, the name should be the workflow. I guess there's two dimensions we care about. One is the fact that there's a workflow dimension. There's also the repo. So repository, and the value for this is, so this is not our map. We'll fix that later, but I'll put this here for now. I guess like, let's abstract that away real quick. Let's just abstract all this away. Because we're going to use that as well. Yeah. Okay, so we'll have that. This is actually repo, and this is the name, and then we have storage resolution, 60 seconds, and the unit we have is seconds. Finally, we post the value, which is just the value. And I think, oh, I'm missing a comma here. Let's see. Did I get everything? We need a namespace. And I guess for now we can just call this Pulumi, I don't know, like Pulumi build, I guess, that's fine. Let me call it like Pulumi workflows. Okay. So I think that has everything. So let's actually add our GitHub token, which is this. Oops. Set GitHub token to this. All right, and so now it's my config, and let's run Pulumi up. So we can see it's going to create this set of things, and yeah, I think that's should be everything we need. Let's run this and hopefully see it work. Pop this little URL open. We have, great, so if we kind of follow our little thing here, great, so this all got created. If we go to CloudWatch, which I actually had open already, if we go to metrics, this is not what I made, this is a different thing. May have to refresh this. Let's see if this even ran. Monitoring. It's possible I have a bug in my code. Okay, it says it just ran. Took 25 seconds. Okay. I guess I probably should have put in some more logging there, but okay, that's okay. There we go. It is here. Great. And it worked. And so we can graph this metric, which obviously is not going to show very much since it posted one data point, I assume. I don't see it anywhere. Let's look at this last 5 minutes. Interesting. Well, must have some data somewhere because, it's because I'm showing the wrong thing here. So maybe it needs to have the 1 minute. Even here I don't see. Where are we? Let's look at the last 15 minutes. I expect to see a metric somewhere in here, but it's odd that hasn't posted anything. But clearly we posted something since the function actually succeeded, and the fact that this got created is a pretty good sign. In any case, I think I'll stop there. I think there's a lot more we can expand on here, but I think this hopefully shows kind of how easy it is to actually just write some just plain old JavaScript, TypeScript code, and then actually have it run regularly on a schedule using Pulumi. And hopefully, like I said, I'm gonna just using this to compute some metrics. But yeah, hopefully you enjoyed this episode, and join us next time on Modern Infrastructure Wednesday.